The Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Weekes Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey, we growing, we know it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The people deserve answers. Where is the Blackbelly sheep and more? We have so many more questions for you, Mia and Ifran. Where the Blackbelly sheep? We want to know. Bajans want to know, and that is one of the topics that we are going to be talking about on the show tonight. We're also going to, if Dave could just put that right back up on the screen for me, and we are also going to be talking about the QEH. QEH, we're going to look at some of the issues we're having there with the with medication. We are looking at that availability of medication and the lining up, people having to line up for the medication, be there for, from before day. They have to leave home like 4 in the morning, and sometimes they still don't get the medication. We're going to continue. We have a new story on that. Somebody was there this morning, and we are going to be talking about that. Then we went down to St. Andrew. I went down to St. Andrew and spoke with a geologist there, and we are going to be talking about a little bit about Barbados's oil history. Episode 3. This is the third one that we've done, and we have Maxine McLean is coming on tonight. We're gonna and she's gonna look at some of the migration issues that we have going on in Barbados. And we are also We also have Jason Phillips on tonight, and he is going to be looking at the record, the Mia Motley's record, the government, the record, the BLP record. We're going to be looking at that in detail tonight. All right, so we're going to ask everybody to be logged on, and we will try our best to make sure that we have time left at 9 o'clock for you to call in. We want to hear your take on what the opposition leader has discovered in Guyana concerning the Blackbelly sheep. We want to hear from Barbadians tonight at 9 o'clock. Or Guyanese, are you from Guyana and you're listening? If you're from Guyana and you're listening, we're going to ask you to call in, and that's at 9 o'clock. So you've got to stick with us. So we have quite a number of issues that we are dealing with tonight. But before I go any further, I want to go right into welcoming Monica Inns. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mavis Lashley, welcome, welcome. Black Supreme, Black Superman. Oh, Black Supreme, Black Superman. Teroni, good night. Hey, Sharon, good night. Carol, good night. Iretha, where is the drunken Blackbelly sheep? And you know, Iretha, people might think we're spelling the word where wrong. As you notice, it's in quotation. But those of you who are watching from Guyana, where is the is the last name, is the surname of the Minister of Agriculture. He was in charge when the 1,000 Blackbelly sheep were sent to Guyana. So that's why, and this is coming from Mr. Alwyn Bob. Okay, so I stole it from him. Where is the Blackbelly sheep? All right. Yes. Yes, yes. And Andrea Critchlow, Esther Blue, good night. Yes, yes, we will. Marcia Miller, Lori Bob, we have something, a great community outreach coming up, Lori Bob. Lori has liked and shared already. That's what we need to be doing at this time. I am a big girl, Lucinda Allen, Mavis Lashley, Angela White, Annette Brewster. Good night. V. Hoy, good night. I hope you had a good July 4th. Yes. Hey, Cami. Hey, Calendar. Matthew B. How you doing, Matthew B? A nice song, Matthew B. Matthew B has a nice song coming out for Krapova. Bajan Boy, good night. Judy Jilks, good night. Good night. I'm a big girl. Judith Ann, good night. Marie Fully. Good night. Hi, Sonia. John Clark. Hugh Shepherd. Good night. Hey, Sherry Wharton. Somebody asking where is Indar? We're asking where is the Blackbelly sheep? We know Indar. I don't even know which ministry. Does he have a ministry? I think the Blackbelly sheep told on him, and they don't want him anymore. Oh my goodness! Show we always saying the sheep pens are empty and growing coach. Oh boy! Oh my goodness! Now something is going on with them Blackbelly sheep, and you know, if the sheep could speak, if the sheep could speak. If the sheep could speak, and you know, I said to Dave at the start of the show as we were preparing, I said, you know, it's funny. You know, we make little jokes of it. This poster that I have here, I don't know if you would recognize where the concept is from. There are two stunt masters who climbed to the Empire State Building in the U.S. Anybody heard of it? They climbed to the Empire State Building in the U.S. and they had a sign up, and so everybody's taking a little turn with the sign, and some people will, you know, they say no, Jamaicans put up, and they say no flour in the, no cornmeal in the dumpling, you know, just funny stuff. So you know, we made the sign, me and Ifram, we're the Blackbelly sheep, you know, yeah. Yeah, so that's where this meme is coming from, by the way. That's where the meme is coming from. But it's a serious issue. It's a very, very serious issue. And as we discussed tonight, you will see that it's serious. We joke as Caribbean people, we joke about these things, but it's no laughing matter. Have you shared yet? Have you shared? All right. So folks, we are going to go right into the QEH. We are going to take a look at the QEH this evening. Anybody out there have been to the QEH and for your medication? Is there anybody out there watching? You went to the QEH, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados, and you had challenges. Anybody? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Somebody called me, a little whistleblower called me this morning and told me of an encounter that they had there, and we're realizing that the issue is bigger than the tickets. So over the past several days, we have been talking about the ticket system at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And for those of you who don't know what is happening, at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Barbadians have to get there like 4 in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock to line up to get medication. So this is the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is a public hospital where Barbadians who might not be able to buy the medication privately, then they go to the hospital to get the medication, and by right they should. We pay some of the highest taxes in the region. There are people that I know 40-something% of their salary is taxed by this government. Is gone by taxation eat out of over 40-something% of their salary, right? So by right, people should be getting healthcare, free healthcare in this country for the amount of taxes that we pay in this country. And so what we are hearing is that Barbadians, they have to go and they leave their home 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, line up with the hope and the prayer that they will be able to make the quota. Because I know some of you watching from other countries, you can't believe that there's a quota and how many persons will be served on a particular day. And so you could be a cancer patient, you could need insulin, you could have kidney issues, whatever on the dialysis, whatever the problem is. If they have reached that number, that quota for the day, dog, as Jamaica would say, dog and yam your supper, you will not get any medication. So that is what's been happening. So this person who spoke with me today told me that this issue that has been discussed, that it's a bit bigger than the tickets. Okay? According to the caller, concerns were raised about patients being unable to obtain tickets, with reports that some people were being told to return another day. Okay? Now, here is the challenge that is happening. People are turning up at that early time, and the security guards are telling them that they don't have enough tickets to distribute. So the security guard doesn't even have the right number of tickets to distribute to make the quota for the day. So I am hearing that the quota was 150 patients today, but they had about 25 physical tickets to distribute. At one point, I was told that the security guard literally started to write tickets by hand. Okay, so That is the challenge that is happening. So can you imagine what happens to those people who they were there early, no tickets available? At one stage, the security, they're locked up and gone home. They're waiting for the new shift to come. What is going to happen to those persons who are in the line and they have no tickets? Don't you think there's going to be confusion? Don't you think that there's going to be confusion? I got the call at 7:15 a.m. This person arrived at 6 a.m. They were there the day before and they were turned away because the numbers ran out by 8:36 a.m. They were there, listen carefully, they were there at 6 a.m. and the numbers ran out by 8:36 a.m. This morning now, after the first group entered, the tickets, as I said, ran out before they even made their quota. And so it became very confusing and frustrating because you have to remember who was there first and who, so that they're now quarreling to figure out what numbers to give who. Isn't that interesting? Well, later in the day, I think Dave has a video up. Dave, you can go ahead and play it. So this is part of the confusion that happened at the QEH today. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you. Yeah, leave it there, Dave. Can you imagine that you are sick? You are sick. You go to the hospital and you have to be just to get the medication. And some of these people are going for days, Some of these people are going to the hospital for days. And that's the kind of treatment. Correct. I'm a big girl. Wayne P. Hoyt, I would love for you to call in tonight, Wayne Hoyt. I know you have a lot to say on this issue. He says, this is how my recent visit to the QEH pharmacy went. Patients who attend A&E and are discharged from there are not furnished with medication for their continuing treatment. You are given a prescription and then you have to go to the pharmacy to get a number. In a recent experience, my patient was discharged just after 2 p.m. When I went to get a number, I was told the number's finished for the day, return the next day. I went to the pharmacy window and spoke to a pharmacist and I explained to them what's going on. So imagine this person was in accident and emergency and got care from the doctors, send them to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist said, we can't deal with you today. We've gotten to our quota. Huh? You understand? These are sick people going to the QEH, and this is what they're met with. They don't care whether we live or die, and we have a whole segment to do on harvesting the organs. We're going to do that tomorrow. Because there are many questions that we need to ask about that. Yeah. Many questions that if you have any stories about what happened, any experience you had at the QEH, please give me a call, please. And at 9 o'clock, we're taking calls. All right. At 9 o'clock, we're taking calls. All right. So even their own system, the system that they have put in place, is not working. All right. Well, we want to look tonight, folks. There's an interesting picture. I didn't send this one to Dave. I hope he can find it, where the Prime Minister is seen attending the swearing in of the Commissioner of Police. Who saw that? There's so many things. I hope I can finish before 8 o'clock tonight when Miss McLean comes on. Miss McLean is coming on at 8, and Jason is coming on at 8:30. Miss McLean will rejoin us at 9 o'clock. Now, folks, did you see that picture? I wonder. I think I forgot to send that picture on. If Dave, you could find it. How many of you? Let me see if anybody out there. Anybody out there? Anybody out there saw the video or the picture? Let me see. Let me make sure we can put it up. Can you like and share for us, guys? Like and share. We want to talk tonight about the swearing in of the Commissioner of Police. The swearing in of the Commissioner of Police. That's what we want to talk about tonight. And Dave, you just got it at 7:24 p.m. Yeah. But I'm gonna start. No, I must say the new Commissioner of Police is somebody whom I have dealt with, and I want to put that on the record. And she's a wonderful woman, and no doubt very qualified for the job, based on just my dealings with her. And I want to wish her all the very best in her capacity as Commissioner of Police. Yes, we want to wish her all the best. It's a lot of work to be done. We thank the one who served before, and we wish her all the best. So this is not questioning the appointment of the new Commissioner of Police at all, right? But tonight we want to talk about something that is bigger than politics. I want us to talk about trust. I want us to talk about democracy. I want to take a good look at this picture that is on your screen. This is why tonight we're saying Barbados deserves, the people deserves answers. We want to talk about trust. That's where I want us to be tonight. We want to talk about trust, and we also want to talk about democracy. Tonight, we're talking about whether institutions that protect every Barbadian are not only independent, but we want them to be seen to be independent. Now, over the past few days, many Barbadians have been discussing the swearing in of, the new Commissioner of Police that has come across my WhatsApp feed many, many times. And I think what Barbadians are concerned about is not the swearing in of the new Commissioner of Police, because if we have a new Commissioner of Police, they have to be sworn in, right? And I don't think that Barbadians are questioning the ability of the Commissioner of Police or, the suitability of the new Commissioner of Police. It is the Prime Minister attending the swearing in of the Commissioner of Police and making a statement, and the type of statement that is made. And oftentimes people say, Vihoy, everybody else who's on, I'm a big girl, they say, they just criticize the Prime Minister for everything she does. On the Marcia Weekes Show, they criticize her. But listen, be fair. Let's be fair. The reality is that there's nothing that says that the PM cannot attend the swearing in of the Commissioner of Police. There's nothing. That is not my concern. The concern, I think, for most Barbadians, it's much deeper. right? It's constitutional. We're talking about conventions, right? Constitutional convention. What normally happens? What normally happens? We're talking about public confidence. We're talking about the prime minister using judgment, being measured, using judgment in what she does. And sadly, this is something that we're seeing lacking in the prime minister. Because it's not so much can I do this? Does the law say I can't do this or I can't do this? Is whether I should do this. Should I do this? That's leadership. A lot of times I sit here and I have to decide, should I do this? It's not whether I can do it. It's should I do this? I see myself as a leader. The Commissioner of Police occupies one of the most important offices in this country. The Commissioner of Police has the authority to investigate crime. And it means that the Commissioner can authorize an investigation involving ordinary citizens like you and I, right? Business leaders, or even members of parliament, cabinet members, and yes, even a prime minister. So that office belongs to the people of Barbados. I wonder if you're following where I'm going tonight. It does not belong to any political party. It doesn't belong to any government. That office is above politics. So that is why what we saw has caused many people to pause once again. Mayor Motley, where's the discretion? Where's the judgment as a leader? The Prime Minister attended the ceremony and publicly pledged her government's full support of the new commissioner. Now, when you do that, Prime Minister Mayor Motley, you cause us to wonder, what do you mean? We understand that every government should support the police service, right? We now call it police service, with all the resources, especially with all the crime that is happening, the equipment, the training, and the funding that they need. I don't think any reasonable Barbadian would disagree with that. But the question, was this the right place to talk about pledging support for the new commissioner? Was this the right moment? Was this the right message? And then they say we pick on the prime minister. But we're talking about using judgment as a leader, understanding the position of the commissioner of police. And understanding that democracy is not just does not just depend on actual independence, but it's also the appearance of independence. So imagine with me, a husband says to his wife, trust me, or vice versa. Well, I'll just say a husband says to his wife. It could be a wife says to his husband, said to his wife. Imagine a husband says to his wife, trust me, nothing is going on. But at the same time, there are repeated situations that create doubt for this wife, right? Late night meetings that are never explained, secretive phone calls, taking a phone call, messages that seem unusual coming into the husband. And the truth is that individually, each of those incidents may have an innocent explanation, But when they begin to add up, the issue is no longer simply whether something improper has happened. The issue now becomes trust. And I want to say that that is where we are with this government right now. Because once confidence begins to erode, whether in that marriage relationship or relationship with the government, every incident is viewed through a different lens. Do you agree? The appearance starts to matter just as much as the reality, right? So that is why wise husbands and wise wives should, they generally avoid situations that unnecessarily create suspicion, even when they have done nothing wrong, because sometimes there's nothing there. It just creates suspicion. And it's not because they're guilty, because they value the relationship. They respect their relationship. And the same principle, I believe, applies to the government. For there to be true democracy, we need public confidence in that democracy. If people lose confidence in the independence of public institutions, then we weaken democracy, right? Now we have seen, we spoke even last week on the show through former Prime Minister Frondell Stewart, and these are issues that we have raised on the show before, that we are currently without a permanently appointed director of public prosecutions. And we said last week on the show and repeated what the former Prime Minister said, that he was appalled, he was shocked to see that the Prime Minister publicly questioned the decision of the DPP. And as I said, we're currently without a permanently appointed DPP. And all of these things add up, like the husband who is doing all of these funny things that the wife concerned about, or vice versa, the wife doing strange things that causes, strange things that cause suspicion. When you are going to publicly criticize the decision of the DPP, and then we don't have any permanently appointed DPP, we don't have a permanently appointed Auditor General, and we have not witnessed the PM taking a highly visible role in the swearing in of the independent Commissioner of Police. I'm sure each event might have an explanation, but it's a picture that these events paint when we view them together. Okay? Where's the restraint from the Prime Minister, from the leader? Where is the judgment? Now, I am seeing a post going around, and the post is basically saying, by reputable persons, and what they're saying is that there's no Prime Minister, based on their research, the research that was done, and I didn't see any online, and if I might be wrong, any Prime Minister that attended the swearing in of the Commissioner of Police. They're saying that they recall previous prime ministers making themselves a visible, did not make themselves a visible part of the swearing in. So I don't know if they attended, but they did not make themselves a visible part. Let me stick with that, because I can't verify whether they attended or not. But they did not make themselves a visible part of the swearing in of a Commissioner of Police. Errol Barrow, Tom Adams, Bernard St. John, Erskine Sandiford, Owen Arthur, David Thompson, or Frondell Stewart. Because to these prime ministers, the office of the commissioner was expected to stand apart from the day-to-day political symbolism. But we witnessed something different. The Prime Minister didn't just attend. She pledged support of the new commissioner. And some of you might say it's trivial. It's not trivial. We have to understand the role of the commissioner of police. So, you know, will the commissioner of police be let me put this, let me be careful how I put this. What if there should be an investigation into any somebody in parliament, of the Prime Minister herself? What is going to happen? I'm sure, I want to believe with the competence of the Commissioner of Police that you know, she would do the right thing and be independent, because I believe she's a woman that's very well trained. But we're talking about the appearance of independence. And I hope we understand that this is not something that is trivial, right? It's not something that is trivial. And I know they're going to say that, but it's not. It's over a period of time, all the things that we have seen. And we are in a one-party, with a one-party government. Correct. You know the hat that you're wearing at the time, and you know your role, you know your place. And I really believe that this is something the I believe, yes, Angel Humble, these are constitutional positions. They're both independent constitutional positions. You're correct. You're correct. And you know, but this woman, this commissioner of police, I've met, as I said, I've had to deal with her, having gone to the police all the time, you know, to get my to get permission and so on. She is somebody who I believe is of noble character, and somebody I say congratulations to the commissioner, the new commissioner of police. I just really I wonder about Mia Motley and who advises her. Who advises her? This there's no way. There is no way. There as somebody who advises this Prime Minister, who advises her? Did she just get up and decide to do this? Just open her mouth and anyway. You see, Lennox, Chandler, this is what I'm saying, that people now are going to believe, and that's what the government, if you're listening, look at this comment from Lennox Chandler. If you think that we're just on here trying to cause problems, it's that you have given us the reasons. Because if there's no Prime Minister that have made themselves so prominent at the swearing in of a commissioner of police, no other Prime Minister except Mia Motley, what do you think people are going to think? And we don't have an opposition. What do you think people are going? There's no leader of the opposition. What do you think people are going to think? Let's be real now. You're watching. I know the government. I know you're watching. Honestly, she should not have done it, and you know that too. You know that. No, she doesn't understand ethics. She does not. Now we're going to, I'm going to leave this alone because I want us to have that discussion at the end at 9 o'clock. And Miss McLean is coming in here at 8 o'clock. So I got to get off, make sure I'm not on her time. Unless she might just switch topics and talk about the and talk about the Blackbelly sheep. Oh my goodness. But Dave, oh no, you're gonna tell me we're gonna miss the oil. Let me see if she will give me a little time. We could probably talk about the Blackbelly sheep together, Miss McLean. Miss McLean, give me a thumbs up where you're at. Okay, Dave, quickly put on. I know she wants to talk about this Blackbelly sheep too. Dave, put up the oil. Okay, so Barbados oil history. So I'm going to move on and we're going to continue this conversation. So some of you will say, oh, we're not delving in deep enough. We're going to delve in deeper at 9 o'clock. All right. So I want you to I want you to get ready for the Barbados oil history. And we have a little video to show you. But before we do that, I want to let me see where I am. I'm trying to make sure because of time, I'm watching the time because I want to jump into the Blackbelly sheep issue. All right. So we're just going to show the video. Okay, so guys, I have a video. We're going to show 10 minutes, a 10 minutes video. We're going to do 10 minutes tonight. And this is a video that we, Mike on the Move, where we went to St. Andrew, right? Where the natural gas story began. And we are with a geologist, and we were, he was introduced to us by Ramon. And Ramon, who is in St. Andrew, and I'm just completely forgetting his last name because I'm trying to rush. But we're going to just show you a little bit of that tonight, and you will hear that this is where our natural gas story began in St. Andrew, and see where it began. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you so much. As we're getting, Ramon Goodman, thank you. As we're getting ready. Okay, so we're having a little, it's stuck, the video is stuck. So we're getting there, but you know what, I will okay, we're having a little challenge there. So okay, let's talk about St. Andrew, right? Well, in St. Andrew is where you find the Scotland district, right? And the Scotland district, believe me, is unlike the rest of Barbados. The rocks are older, its geology is different, the landscape is different. And according to the geologists, it's because of their unique geology, right? And so geologists from all over the world, they have always been interested in this area. And so I think it's no wonder the Chinese have taken residence there, but that's a whole nother I have a whole nother story on that. All right. So the oldest geological formation producing petroleum in Barbados is found in the Scotland district, right? Different rock formations, right? Hydrocarbon forming, bearing formations, and it's early oil and natural gas interest have been in in St. Andrew, the Scotland district. Dave, let me know when you're ready. All right. So we went to Turner's Hall with an S, Turner's Hall in St. Andrew. And because I wanted to go where the story began. All right. So we went there. Thank you to Ramon Goodman, who arranged that for us. And we know that a lot of you drive through this district without realizing that you're passing through one of the most geologically important areas in our island's history. Okay. And this is where let's see. We're ready. Okay, the footage. Let's roll the footage, Dave. For oil. We are exploring today. We're looking for oil. We are explorers.
This is Great Farm, Hillaby.
This is Great Farm.
That's where the salt premise were years ago.
Where is this?
Here, this spot here. I'm just going to tell you.
Tennis Hall.
Turner's
Hall.
Salt Primary.
Turner's Hall.
Yes.
You going this way?
No, you keep straight.
Right. So Aline School, you go to the right.
Yes, that there.
But we're going to keep straight here, and we're going.
Now here is where the first place. Stop here. This is you can take a photo here.
Yeah.
This is the first place natural gas was founded in Barbados.
Oh, natural gas. Okay, so we want to
Natural
see
gas.
this. So let's go here.
Right.
So, folks, we have a wonderful St. Andrew man put on, recommended highly by Ramon, and he is a Reverend Ward.
I'm Dr. Reverend.
Dr. Reverend Ward. Dr. Reverend Ward. We are privileged to be given a tour by Dr. Reverend Ward. Yes, and he is telling us, Dr. Reverend Ward, tell the people.
This is the Great Farm. Here, Great Farm, where the first place natural gas was founded in Barbados, early years. And this was the service station. It's operated many years in St. Andrew.
Yes.
But there is a massive gas well.
Mm-hmm.
We find internal soil where you call the boiling spring.
Walk with me.
Where it's natural, and you could go there, put eggs or something like that. And
What? Well, tell me, where's that?
Turner's Hall Woods.
Turner's
Hall Woods.
Turner's Hall Woods. There's a
Yes.
place where.
Natural gas and natural gas well is there. Powerful natural gas well is there. You know, and the way people call it the boiling spring, where you go down there, you could put potato, you could carry put in this thing and it just tastes like that.
So I'm gonna have to bring my potato and put it there.
And you can get a cook there.
I get a cook there. Natural.
Yes.
So this is the first place that they did that they founded natural gas, and this is Hillaby. Hillaby.
That is all up in the early 30s or something up in there.
So
Because my
folks,
dad, well, I'm a geologist.
really,
I work with Ben OC and I work with Petro Canada. And I traversed in Dubai years ago in the early 80s with Dubai with Petro Canada. I worked with BNOC, so then I went over to Petro Canada and I worked exploring the wells. I worked exploring the wells in Barbados for oil and gas. But we found more gas than we find oil. But we find oil in a stone throw from here. We call it Great Farm number 2 because there's another place over here in Great Farm where was a derrick years ago in the 60s, and that was fun. It was a drill oil from there before. So we went and did another drill after that in 84. We been seeing a Petro Canada and Sico drilling, and I was working with them, and I was a geologist with them, and I was able to explore and we find an oil well here at Great Farm number 2. We call it Great Farm number 2.
Great Farm number 2.
Great Farm number
And
2.
they found an oil well
was
there.
drilling there for a long while. Oil was pumping from there. The derrick was there, and after that we was able to see we had been able to introduce, and it was just to pump the oil and to come back some oil.
Like a sleeping horse, Derek the sleeping horse.
Yeah.
Yes,
But the first thing that you guys thought you had was just natural gas.
Yes.
Natural gas.
Yes.
So let me ask you something. The people were living in this area. How did they know that this was natural gas? Like how many years? I mean, people were living. I see the houses all around here.
That go back from the 1930s,
Right.
20s, 30s.
Yes.
They explore, but then I think about in the 30s they got to explore because to smell the gas.
You can
The
smell it now. Let's
So
smell
sometimes you can stay at your home, you can smell the
Literally,
natural gas.
people, we're
Literally.
smelling the gas. We're right
Yes,
here
that's
and
a
we're
fact.
smelling. So after time they would have smelled the gas and they realize that this is natural gas that is here. And this is the first place, guys. This is quite historic. And we are here in St. Andrew.
But we have, while working with BNOC, I was able to drill for all that Turner soil. We call it rock hole number 1, which should be Turner soil, though, but we changed the names because it was secret drilling who give Barbados the money to explore. So then I've been over to Guyana and explored with Guyana, and I'm the one who I recommend to Guyana that they have massive oil.
Yes.
But at the time, Venezuela was there, so they thought it was Venezuela was getting oil from them. But it was always Guyana's oil.
Yes.
Okay. Also,
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Also, I must go on and say that Barbados can. I must congratulate Mia, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who started to want to say offshore drilling. That's the long years I will want to Barbados, but nobody listened to me. That Barbados have cold oil offshore drilling, and we could get massive oil offshore drilling. I will not go further to the same thing because a certain Caribbean country is sucked to ours and they're sucking some of our oil right now.
They're sucking some of the oil. Okay.
Yes.
Well, at some point we're going to talk about the environmental some of those concerns, but we won't necessarily get into that because I know that you have the geologists and you have the environmentalists and you have everybody, and so we need to have a discussion there because there are some real concerns that environmentalists have.
As I would say that the Scotland districts need to be well looked after. The Scotland, as you see, St. Andrew is the most picturesque natural beauty. Natural beauty, St. Andrew. And I think that we need to see better maintenance, looking after St. Andrew. St. Andrew needs a serious sitting down and looking after because too much depletion is going on in St. Andrew where it can be maintained.
Because I think that is some of the concerns that people have.
Yes.
If we start the drilling, what about the environment and so on? But as I said, because I know we have to move, we need to get to the actual. I want to see.
Okay.
Go on. Where are we going? Tell us where we're going.
We're still in just about 2 minutes right from here. I'm going to take the spot where the oil. There's one here.
You're taking us. Joel, Joel is here with me. Joel,
I wanted to ask you a question because let me look at Guyana and Trinidad.
Yes.
Who has oil?
Yes.
Their money, the value.
The value
is very low.
Yes. Yeah. Now, when we look at Guyana and Trinidad, look at all the countries that have devaluation, bad management. You see, if that the great Erskine Sandiford, who a lot of people don't want to recognize in this country, who then had the wisdom and understanding to take us and take Barbados at the time and said that I'm going to cut your salary by 8%, but I'm going to give it back to you. And everybody made noise and quarrel again. But I remember graduating at UE, and we had the ambassador of China gave the feature address for Barbados. And he spoke very brief high. And he touched Singapore, he touched Guyana, he touched Trinidad, he touched Jamaica, he touched every country. The last he hit us, I was real, bring us down to our toes that Barbados, intelligent, creative people, but wanted a lot of understanding. And a lot of understanding that we had a prime minister who the people castigate for cutting our salary by 10% for 18 months to build back the country, to restore that our dollar will not. And our dollar stands high in the world today.
Yes.
And we must give it to him.
Yes.
And it came with a great man from the Democratic Party, Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford. And I bow my head to him in his great call right now. Okay. And we was able not to get the money to value. Instead of there was a place but we see the results of it. So the ambassador talk about that, that we cannot see. But look what a great thing he done for Barbados. Our money stands, our passport stands at high, everything stands high for Barbados. And we don't have resources like those other countries.
Yeah. So guys, so that was a little my history lesson, and we did not leave home to go to do anything like that. It just happened. It's one of those things that happen, and we are going to visit the Reverend Dr. Ward again because he's going to show us a bit more in Turner's Hall, where you actually see the heat coming up out of the ground. And he says we can cook an egg. So I'm going to bring an egg. So I think that is great. We're waiting on Miss McLean to join. So Dave, you're ready. If you have another one, we have another piece of this where you're going to see where they started to drill oil right there in St. Andrew. And if Dave is ready, we will go with that one. Yes, go ahead, Dave, until Miss McLean comes. They're saying these people on this side who are white Barbadians, they have their own natural gas. Isn't that interesting? I find it also that here in St. Andrew, Dr. Ward, I find it fascinating that this is where the Chinese are.
They have most bottom number one.
What it says?
Most bottom number one.
Most bottom. I'll come back to you about
yes. But when I work with this, we call it most bottom number two.
Most bottom number two.
But I have one, but one here, right?
Right.
But what it is, because another Derek was there before, another orange.
When you say Derek, so for people, oil rig.
Oil rig was there.
So how many oil rigs were in St. Andrew?
One was over into most bottom. One is most bottom number one. And the number two, because one was around yonder. And 30 years, when I go back, I can show you. My dad worked for 15 years.
Come quick before the rain. No. Yes, because of the rain.
Just a little drizzle.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is amazing, guys.
We drilled here in 84.
1984, you were drilling here?
Yeah, we drilled here on this spot here. And this is where they had it swell up. And tell danger keep out. This is where the oil field are. See the thing set here. The pump is yonder.
Right. Yeah, let's go.
I know my work, so I can tell you where I leave it.
Yes, so you did a lot of this work.
Yes.
Tell me, what did you do?
I was the geologist on the...
You are the geologist on this? Yes. Excellent.
Look, let's see. Go and see it.
Yes, that's his work. He's so proud of it. Yeah, so this is, wow. We can go close?
Yes. This is pumping. Why are you not pumping? I don't know. I believe on field. I don't. This is psychology, and I don't. That's it.
So you don't know why they're not pumping?
I don't know. It's because they stank the seal here. Yes, the horses go back here. So it's a pump here, so the seal. And see that it's on seal. Look, there's two there. There's two out.
Oh, yeah, two.
Yes.
And you used to get a lot of oil from here.
Yeah, so much oil you get from here.
Right.
And the one is in Highland because Canfield, which is Highland, Canfield. If you go in Canfield, you'll find another one that you get the oil from those.
You get the oil from those. So this here, they covered it. But what used to be
when we finish, we seal it up.
Yeah.
And we don't seal with the concrete. We have a kind of concrete, a kind of cement that. So keep it that don't be hard. How do you say that? We use that.
So it doesn't harden the place. Okay.
But this is natural cement we get in we use.
Right. And that one, can we see oil over there?
I don't think we see. You don't see oil.
You don't see the oil like that.
You want able to see it down. Down. To make it come down.
Right.
Yeah.
You gas. Oh,
you have to drill 2 gas to get oil.
Right, you have to go all the way down to get the oil.
Gas onto the top.
We can go close? Okay.
So what make you what compels you to come up about this?
Yes, because
What is the water?
The
water is in there. What,
Yes.
So what?
See the pipe is there.
Yeah. So let me
So
see.
you know when you're drilling, you have to get water to drill the caddy.
Right.
Like that.
Okay.
So this is just regular water here.
Like that, how the pipe hit that one getting water. Or this is the ultimate drill. They're drilling up the cat.
Right. So wouldn't this
But that just the love that I believe that the NOC was selling any more profitable to get it. So I just don't know why. What was it? Because then it came with the yard fee. And then I was not here the yard fee anymore. I
right.
was traveling.
Right. So okay, but let me ask you, wouldn't this cause mosquitoes and so on?
That it could, but it's open like that.
Interesting.
But that's really that's the thing there.
Okay.
Right. So that's
Right.
the real
So,
deal.
yeah,
The
yeah,
oil is
yeah,
underneath
yes,
that
yes.
concrete area.
Yes, so what caused you the country come up?
Yeah. Dave, you might. Well, the
What
rain,
caused
the
you? What
rain has
caused
come
you?
on. I'm going to tell you in the car
Pause.
because the rain.
Yeah, they can get in the car.
Yeah, put that. Well, folks, we are doing a rush job here, and because we have so many things. Listen, this is Marcia Weekes Show. It's so interesting, Miss McLean. Welcome. It's good to see you. Welcome, Miss McLean.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
And see me properly? Okay. Well, good evening and good evening to all the loyal opposition. As you say, there's a lot happening, so you have to share it.
Yes.
You know. So
Well, I'm going to move out the way. Somehow there is I'm hearing myself. You hearing myself, Miss? You
there's an
hear?
echo. I'm hearing an echo when you speak a little bit. Yeah. We'll see.
All right. So I'm going to allow you to speak. I think it's as soon as you came on. It's something with the
Yeah.
audio. of your computer.
Well, last time you couldn't hear me, and now you're hearing more than you should. Anyhow, well, I sent Dave
Let me say something to that. So folks, tonight, what we're going to do at this time, we were supposed to, at this point, I was supposed to already start to introduce the issue with the Blackbelly sheep and the findings of the opposition leader in Guyana. Because of time, what we're going to do so that we can give enough time to that, we're going to start that at 9 o'clock. All right. So we're not doing any bait and switch on you. We are going to do it. All right. So just hang on, please. And let Miss McLean go up until 8:30. Then Jason will take us up till 9. Okay. So over to you, Miss McLean.
But yes, thanks very much. And as I was saying, I had sent Dave a sharp PowerPoint presentation, and I'll go through a couple of those slides. What I called it Labor Matters, Migrants, Money, and More, M-O-R-E and M-O-O-R-E. As you know, the Member of Parliament for St. George, I think she's North, is also the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union. And if Dave could put up the first slide, I basically said that this subject of what we saw transpire recently is not new. We've been talking about the situation of migrant workers on this show for a couple of years. I went back and I looked at my notes, and I can tell you back in September last year, we would have spoken about the matter. I remember that was around the 3rd of September last year. I was speaking about a young man. I know I called the call-in program about it as well, who was working on a site, and on that site he got injured. He was working for $100 a day, and because he was a contract worker, he was not an employee, he was unable to get national insurance benefits because I guess working at $100 and nobody guiding him to become part of, to sign up with national insurance and pay his national insurance benefits. And even if he signed up as a non-employed person, as a self-employed person, I am not sure that he would have qualified based on the rules then for injury, etc. Back in September 26, I remember calling for more research after hearing the Minister of Labour and members of government talking about a construction boom. And my question was, a construction boom for whom? not for Barbadian workers, because as you walk around work sites in Barbados, one of the things that you would find is that there are very few Barbadian workers. I had a conversation with somebody who is in the industry, and this person, like me, has been around for quite some time and can talk about construction projects over multiple decades. And one example that was given to me in terms of use of local and non-national labor was the construction of the cement plant. And back then, when the cement plant was constructed and it was not done by a local company, workers from Barbados and workers from the region would have been involved. And where there were non-Barbadian workers, national insurance contributions, pay as you earn, deductions, people paid taxes, they paid national insurance, and so on. What we have now is a very different situation. I don't know if they can move the thing alone to the third slide, where I give but the fourth one, because I've touched on that already, where it says the construction industry. Okay, leave it there. Go back to that one. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself a bit. What prompted me to signal that this was something on my mind was, and I took this from a Nation, I think it was a Facebook page, and it said the recent investigation into the living quarters of 80 migrant workers with a construction firm has reignited debate over who should have the authority to inspect and monitor foreign workers in Barbados, with the Bar Association calling for an expansion of enforcement powers beyond the Immigration Department and police. Now, we know that the Labor Department over the years, and I talked about previous discussion only last week. I was on the show with Dr. Nichols, Ferdinand Nichols, and an apostle, and we were looking, and my topic then was immigration, quality of life for all. You probably will recall that, and I was making the point back then that workers need access to housing, social services, for example, education, health, etc. And we need to have a system where there's planned migration as opposed to ad hoc movement of people. And we talked about this last week. Apostles Canterbury was also very much part of that discussion. And so when we look at this situation, it is something that we have flagged for the authorities. We have called on the unions to say something. And interesting, and I want to say this up front, because certain companies have been named, and I asked a couple questions. Who exactly are the principals behind these? What interests do they have in other things? If in any case, have any of these people been involved with people in the political arena? And I also want to call on a well-known construction magnate in Barbados, because I think I heard the news report that Mr. Mark Maloney has indicated that he has no association with the named companies. Now, Marcia and members of the audience, because we have members of the loyal opposition, and I'm sure there are others listening, so I'm speaking to all. And I am happy to hear him say he's not associated, but I want now to put out a challenge to Mr. Maloney. And I do this because, as the world knows, because this show goes beyond the world, and I'm always talking about my going to the beach. And I can tell you that when I go to Brandon's, I see on his projects immigrant workers. I don't see many people looking like me. I don't hear many accents sounding like mine. But I see people speaking Spanish or looking like Latin Americans, South Americans as we call them. I see some other races and so on. I also saw a couple sometime last year or year before, because time flies, there was a complex that was under construction for many years, an apartment complex. And I saw that that complex, work done on it. And notice what I said, work done on it. It's not a complete building, but I noticed from the clothing hanging out the windows, etc., that it appears to be the residence of migrant workers. And to reinforce his point, I would like Mr. Maloney to take TV cameras and news reporters, and if he wants to, he can invite the Marcia Weekes Show to do it. Let us see the conditions in that housing arrangement, that housing unit, because it's a multi-story, what is an apartment complex. And as I said, workers are there. So show us that, as you said, you were not part of that, but show us on the positive side, if that is what you can show us, that these people are living under better conditions. And I think that is something I wanted to say up front, because it's okay to say I'm not part of that, but it is important to show us what you are doing on behalf of those workers. That's one of the things. So before I go any further, on the next slide, I really set out a couple questions that we have to answer. I may not be able to go through it. So the next slide talks about, Dave, the construction industry in Barbados, as I put it, the real story. And I think these are 4 questions that we have been tackling and that we need to continue to to talk about. And the first one is, how can we characterize construction in Barbados? Where are the Barbadian workers? What are migrant workers facing? And question is, what must be done? And let me say that I have been talking to persons in the sector. I have been observing with my own 2 eyes, and my eyes are the best they have been in years. I've had cataract surgery on both, so they ain't blurred. I'm seeing very well with or without glasses. And I can tell you that every construction site that I have passed in the last year or more, the vast majority of workers are not Barbadians. Now, we have said, and we recognize, I sat in a cabinet where we were discussing, for example, planned construction of hotels based on applications to town and country planning, etc. What the labor situation was or is likely to be, and what kinds of plans would have to be made for that sector. So I am saying categorically, yes, we will probably need migrant labor, but I ask the question now, when we look at what's happened, we have several large construction projects. Many of them are in the area of tourism or related sectors, hospitality. And if you look to St. James, I live in St. James and I have reason to be on the West Coast. I don't live on the coast, but I have reason to be there on multiple occasions. And in going there, I saw a major hotel under construction, and they were, for the most part, foreign workers. As somebody described it to me, the Barbadian workers you typically saw were the ones with the flags directing traffic. Now, I say that because there are 2 things. One, there's likely to be shortage of labor. But 2, the question that I ask is, and the evidence, we will have to look for the empirical evidence, but anecdotal evidence would tell you that Barbadian workers have been often ignored. And I had a discussion with somebody who grew up in this industry, and the point was made to me. When you look at the categories of workers, you have low skilled, you have semi-skilled, and then you have specialized, special skilled workers. Over the years, a lot of young Barbadians would have gone to construction, working their way up. They were trained on the job, or even if they went to, let's say, the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic as it was then, or elsewhere, or they apprenticed with established builders. They started out, they trained on the job, and they acquired skills. So unless people are given a chance to acquire skills, they can't fill skilled positions. So, so there's this notion Barbadians don't want work. All the youngsters do is smoke. And some of that may be true, but that is not the total truth. The other thing that we have to understand when we look at construction and we look at the question where Barbadian workers, we have to appreciate that Barbadian workers live in a different situation from the situation of migrant workers. Migrant workers, whether in Barbados or elsewhere, typically leave their families behind. So they do not have, on a day-to-day basis, other than working to send home remittances to support their families, they do not have day-to-day commitments to family, to children, to grandparents, to parents, to their livestock, because sometimes you have to supplement your income by being a small farmer or whatever. The point I'm making is that the reality of life for a Barbadian is very different in terms of what he or she has to do. And therefore, a migrant worker who is on his or her own can work 18, 20 hours a day if they felt that they had the stamina to do it. And they could do that because their objective is to earn as much money. But a person who has familial responsibilities and commitments can work overtime sometimes, and they probably need time off to take a parent to the doctor or whatever. So I am suggesting that sometimes what is described as laziness or unwillingness to work is in fact the reality of trying to balance work life and family life. And those two things create two very different scenarios for Barbadian workers. So what we are seeing is a situation where our Barbadian workers are challenged to get their feet through the door, and so on. Now, what are migrant workers facing? So I've touched on that, and we can expand on these things on after I've made the presentation, bearing in mind what you're trying to achieve. Now, what are migrant workers facing? Clearly, the story that has come to the public, but the story that many of us have heard about, people have quietly complained because they are afraid that they may have difficulties if they are known to complain. So many migrant workers come here. We are unclear as to what are the contractual obligations of both the worker and the employee. We don't know. Sometimes people come here, they are paid an allowance, and the bulk of their salary may be paid at home. My question is, does the government have a set of rules and regulations informing what companies can do or what companies should do when they hire workers from overseas? Does the Ministry of Labor, does immigration or anybody routinely check the conditions of service? And because they are non-nationals brought into the country, part of those conditions relate to their work situation. What are their living conditions, etc. How much are they being paid? How many hours do they work? These are the kinds of questions that we have to ask, because at the heart of all of this, it is this whole notion of decent work, the observation of what is considered appropriate and acceptable, not only domestically or within the region, but internationally. So one of the things I will do quickly, Marcia, is to look at what must be done. And what I've shared on the next slide and the one after that are two examples of what must happen. The UNDP has also, there's a study that was done, and this is a document that I recommend. It is written by Natalie Dietrich Jones, and it is Migration in Barbados, What Do We Know? And I just extracted two paragraphs, and I'll read them. Insight into government policy on migration can be observed through the country's ratification of international and regional treaties, adherence to the principles enshrined in these treaties, as well as the introduction and implementation of legislation at the national level. Of the 5 main international agreements, and we can talk about those later, the the International Organization for Migration, and that they spell out those agreements that govern migration. Barbados has not ratified 3. Non-ratification of these treaties is explained by a variety of factors, including weak capacity to fulfill reporting requirements, as well as the pace of ratification regionally, etc. Now, basically, as part of the family of nations within the United Nations, the Organization of American States, the Commonwealth, etc., Barbados does not stand alone. Barbados is part of an international community where globally people try to set standards. Now, you hear of Barbados signing or agreeing to a particular treaty or whatever, but it is only ratified when the country says we are in a position to do all the things that ratification will require of us. What it does not say, and that is the next paragraph that we have here, it says, while non-ratification ultimately impacts the domestication of treaties, that is bringing it into local law, and thus the legislative and policy landscape, it does not preclude the Barbadian state's responsibility to protect refugees and migrants. Barbados is party to several binding international instruments with provisions governing the protection of migrants, of vulnerable migrants. And this is where I put the MWRE at the end. For some years now, the General Secretary of Barbados Workers Union, in the person of Miss Toni Moore, and before her for many years, Sir Roy Trotman, would have made an annual trek to the International Labour Organization's meetings in Geneva. And we go to those meetings and we talk about what we do as a country. What I cannot understand, colleagues and all who are listening to me, and I trust somebody will tell Ms. Moore and even Sir Roy to listen, is why is the Barbados Workers Union coming out 2 or 3 years after people have spoken on the radio, people have spoken on this program about issues of workers in Barbados? One of the first things I had to do, or one of the things that, or many things that I had to deal with as a minister in the Prime Minister's office responsible for immigration, the immigration department, was to deal with problems facing workers. And people cuss me for it. And they say that I remember a certain moderator, and he would know talking about him, always talked about xenophobia and a lot of that because it sounded good. But what I can tell you, when I saw reports coming to me, and I have spoken on this program about it, I can go to Georgetown now, and if the young man is still working at the same hotel, he can tell you of his experience working in Barbados. He left there with them owing him money. And he left there, they will tell you about people holding on to their passports and all kinds of things, paying them less than they should, taking advantage of the fact that they were probably here outside, not legally. They had extended, their time had expired, and they remained in the country and were undocumented, etc. And we have a situation where, quite ironically, this union and this union leader and the Prime Minister of Barbados, before she became Prime Minister, had a whole set to say. But under their watch, and I can tell you we saw it evolving over the 8 years that they have been in office. A return to what we saw around 2005, 6, 7, and into 8 when the government changed. Because we remember there were issues. Go back and look at some scandal about Indian workers when the Kensington Oval was being rebuilt and so on. So it is not new that we have had problems, and therefore a union that was seriously concerned about the rights of workers of any kind would have spent some time addressing these. So basically, my concern is that we will have our Minister of Labor, we will have our union representatives, and particularly the Barbados Workers Union representative who spoke on this matter and who sits in Parliament, ignoring this for the last, I would say, from the time it was raised on this program. I think what has happened, and they will have to show me otherwise, that it has become embarrassing for persons, and it has reached the stage where, you know, as I said, it's embarrassing. It has become an absolute black mark. I don't really use the word, but a negative mark. I don't use the word black because I as a black woman, I don't like, we often use black negatively. It has become a problem for this country and this government, and that is why we are seeing it. If you go to the last slide that I have here, and this is one of the things that we say that we subscribe to, we participate in. The International Organization for Migration, it says that it's committed to the principle that humane and orderly migration benefits migrants and society. And as an intergovernmental organization, the IMO acts with its partners in the international community to do a couple of things, and I've listed 4 of them here. It talks about assisting in the operational challenges of migration, it serves to advance understanding of migration issues. It seeks to encourage social and economic development through migration. And the last one is to uphold the human dignity and well-being of migrants. So the 4th one, that's the 4th one. If you could make that slightly smaller, Dave, they'll be able to see that 4th point. And the reason I've referred to these things is that if the government of Barbados or the Barbados Workers Union does not understand what it needs to do to develop a comprehensive policy on migration, it can go to the ILO, it can go to UNDP, it can go to IMO and get assistance. What we have seen is, and this is my interpretation, my assessment of what I've seen, they have sat down, turned a blind eye, probably allowed people to make all kind of promises, and as a result, this thing has gotten out of hand. I will end because it's 29 minutes past 8 by my phone. I will end by saying this. It is interesting that the Prime Minister, and we could go back and read or listen to her comments. Why is it that you are asking these people now to produce a list for you of the people that they have on their premises and so on? I thought that if you had any non-nationals working in Barbados, the Immigration Department can say Marcia Weekes applied for work permits for 50 people, and these 50 people are John Brown, Mary Smith, Jane Doe, John Doe, Bob, whoever, and they can tell you coming from country A, B, C, D, F, and G. They arrived in Barbados so long. This is the job they're supposed to be performing, and therefore here is a list of these people. Go on job site A, B, and C and tell me if they are there, what is happening. Don't tell me that you're not asking. Tell me who you got working for you. What the heck is that? You know, and it really tells me that things are messed up. And I promise that I would say this because there's another issue which is tangential to this, but it is important. Because as we talk about these, I'm trying to find the right word, but these infractions, these wrongs that are being done, we pass legislation about employee rights and so on. Barbadian workers, and I'm sure within them they might have had some non-nationals facing the same thing, but workers in Barbados, let me put it that way, who would have been wrongfully dismissed and have made claims and would have presented their cases to the Labor Department, etc., and to tribunals in Barbados, and where even the courts have ruled. People have been waiting for upwards to maybe 15 years to get those things settled. In other words, you were wrongfully dismissed, your employer has been found to be wrong, told they have to pay you, Marcia or Maxine, X amount of money, and it has not been paid. I am calling on Miss Moore, and she needs to put a smile on that, but she can't smile, because if she looking like her there now, she needs to deal with this problem. There's nothing to smile about. But she needs to understand that their face should be looking that way a long time ago, going and having her officers look at these things. I want her to come to Parliament with a proposal to modify the law to make it possible, let me put it that way, for persons to get what they are due, because it is a total waste of time to have a piece of legislation, and over time we have seen, we see these things when the legislation goes into action, that notwithstanding the fact that we're supposed to be law-abiding citizens, workers are sometimes treated badly. And even though the courts, as I said, have made a case for them to be paid, they are sitting around helpless because there's nothing to enforce. And if I am wrong, she and anybody, Labour Minister or anybody who knows these things can come and tell me. And that, I think, is important, because workers in this country are being treated worse every day in several ways. On that note, Marcia, I pause.
The unfortunate thing is that I've been so quiet. Right, yeah, right. You did it. Your mic seemed to have to be muted for me to speak. I don't know what is going on. But very well, very well researched presentation, Miss McLean. Excellent. I sat here and I said, no wonder you're a former minister. And minister from
I thought you were gonna tell me former teacher.
And teacher too, at the University of the West Indies, and it came out in your presentation tonight. Excellent. Thank you. But we will talk. I just sent you a message of what to do, so we can have the discussion afterwards. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. God bless you. Yes. Well, tonight, folks, it's Sunday night, and on Sunday night we have Mr. Jason Phillips with us, and I know a lot of you are still waiting to talk about them Blackbelly sheep, but not before Jason Phillips, attorney at law and former DLP candidate for the constituency of St. Peter in 2026 general election, not before he talks to us about the track record of the Barbados Labour Party. Jason is going to be presenting his assessment of the current administration's record, and he's going to focus on several key areas, right, including democratic participation, which he's been talking a lot about that, crime and public safety, the cost of living, the national debt, Barbados' declining birth rate, citizenship policy, consumer protection, and as always, he's going to make a very meaty presentation tonight, an analysis, and we look forward to this presentation by attorney at law Jason Phillips. But before he does so, Dave has a short video. Right, Dave, that you're going to share. Jason always bring the fun. So we have a short video. Go right ahead, Dave.
Hey, Owen.
Listen, you can't come in this video because you're too young. But I want all the good people, good evening, ma'am, how you doing? I want all the good people to see that I am here in Golden Mile. And I am born here with my people. That's enough, now stop there.
Jason, good night. Good night, Jason Phillips.
Hi, good evening, Marcia. Good evening, the good people of St. Peter and by extension, Barbados. Listen, I don't know if your internet is sticking. Or if I'm beginning to stick, let me know, and I will change over to my phone, my own data.
Yes. Well, so far you seem fine. There was a little delay at the beginning, but you seem fine now.
Okay.
Yes. So what will I'm just going to let you go right ahead because we took a little bit of your time, and I don't want to take any of your time. We want to hear everything that the BLP government, the record speak for itself. Listen, get your pen and papers and get ready. I got mine. Go right ahead, Mr. Phillips.
Well, Barbadians, a government by measurable results, not slogans, not public relations, nor personalities. The facts speaks for themselves. And earlier this week, I put out a video, which I'm going to begin with. If you look at what's happening in Barbados now, we are seeing a collapse in the confidence of the electoral system. And in 2026, we recorded the lowest vote turnout ever in the history of Barbados. Now, we have 290,000 Barbadian citizens on this rock. And according to the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, we have 273,619 people registered to vote. And I'm saying that number seems awfully close to the number of Barbadians. Because if you look at people who are institutionalized, I mean, either in the mental hospital, at the various geriatric hospitals around the island, the Lone General Hospital, Queen Elizabeth Hospital, prison, those who are home sick and so on, that number of 273,619 seem awfully close to the number of Barbadians here, 290,000, between 280,000 to 290,000. I believe that the voters list was key in the last general election. And where is the issue with the voters list? It undermines the integrity of the ballot. Barbadians are now asking questions. Things don't seem right. And remember, immediately after the general election, the head of the EBC, the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, was elevated to the position of senator. I will continue to drive home this point, because if you have an institution, an agency that is supposed to supervise and run elections in Barbados, and immediately after the election, we get the head of that institution being selected or appointed as a senator, we are asking the question, was that a reward for any reason? And I use the word any reason broadly. It does not look good. It looks bad. Because if we are playing a game of cricket or football, and immediately after the game, the umpire or the referee is seated with the winning side having some beers, it looks bad. It looks as though the integrity of the sport was undermined by the referee or the umpire, even if he was fair. Now, of that 273,947 persons who were registered to vote, we only saw 115,619 persons actually voting. And that equates to 42.2% of the electorate. In other words, if you round it off, only about 40% of the people who were eligible to vote in Barbados actually voted. So it's saying that 60 or the average of 60% of Barbadians did not vote. But it gets even worse, because if you look at that 40% of people who actually voted and we dissect that number, let's say we give 13% to the Democratic Labour Party and another 2% to the other parties that participated in the last election, we're looking at 15% there. And if it's 15% people who supported the opposition, then we can conclude that this government that is in power, the Barbados Labour Party government, led government, only had approximately 25% of the vote. It means now to say that about 75%, which is about 3/4 of the population of eligible voters, did not vote for the Barbados Labour Party-led government. And this is really a minority government. They might walk around acting high and mighty, talking about being red and ready, but they're not ready, and the population is not ready for them, right? And it actually, to put things into perspective, you have 158,000 people saying that they didn't want either party, but you're saying that you have 3/4 of this population saying we do not want the Barbados Labour Party government either. This is a very serious thing. And what adds insult to injury, it weakens parliamentary democracy because there is no opposition in parliament. And even if government ministers initially had good intentions, we know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's no one in government to question money bills. No one is questioning how much money government is raking in taxes, how much taxpayer dollars they are spending on certain things. Already we saw a lot of nonsense with Carrie Fester. They wanted to spend about 3 or 4 million, and already we have statistics pointing to over $30 million. We know that this government borrowed a lot of money to fix the roads. And when we look around, we see one road getting fixed, but the vast majority of roads are not being fixed. Government is collecting a lot of taxes from the fuel. One time you used to go and pay a road tax, and now they collect the taxes through the fuel. So the government is getting a wash of money from taxes through a fuel, because even the guy who let in the grass with his lawnmower or bushwhacker, if you run a generator at home, what would equate to road tax, you are also paying that. So government is, instead of getting money from people owning cars and buses and trucks and so on, they're now taxing the fuel, so they're getting a bigger net. The net is cast over everyone that use fuel. So this government is getting record numbers of money, and we are not seeing value for money in this regard. If we move on to crime, violent crime contributes to a very vexing feeling, and government must publish measurable crime reduction targets and be held accountable for achieving them. To date, we are not satisfied with the level of crime in Barbados. The last chief commissioner of police said that he knew who the perpetrators were that committed the crime downtown the Bay. To date, he never came back to the public. I am asking this government to show measurable outcomes in the reduction of crime, because we are getting too many victims and we are having too many grieving Barbadians. Too many of our young people are dying. And if we move on to our birth rate, we're losing a lot of people, but if we move on to our birth rate, we noticed that, I think it was in 2001, when we look at the percentage, we had 8.7 per 1,000 population, and it went down to I want to look for these figures, 8.2 that was in 2021 to 8.2 right in 2021. Right, so Barbados is facing a demographic crisis. The official birth rate declined from 8.7 birth per 1,000 population in 2020 to 8.2 in 2021 and 8.48 in 2022. In 2025, Barbados recorded only 1,915 live births, while 3,113 deaths were recorded. In other words, we are getting less children, and we're losing over 3,000 people per year. We're only producing just under 2,000 people, and we are getting deaths 3,000. So more Barbadians are dying than are being born, and this means an aging population. That has a lot of bearing. One, that's going to cause a lot of pressure on taxes, a lot of pressure on pensions. They have implications for our workforce as well. But similarly, we're still seeing these high numbers on the voters list. Who is voting in Barbados? We want to know, who are these people? Where are they coming from? Right? Barbadians are not foolish. Barbadians are not sleeping. They are quietly observing what is going on. These are the fundamental issues that keep Barbadians thinking and discussion in their kitchen, in their patios, at the shop, at the end of a game of cricket or football. Barbadians are beginning to speak up. And this government must remember that it's a minority government. It does not really have a mandate from the majority of people in Barbados, right? And I searched the internet tonight just before I came online, and I was trying to figure out how many people became citizens in Barbados in the last year or the last 2 or 3 years. And there are no real figures to point to. We know that you can become a citizen by descent. That's where you're born in a foreign land, but either your father or mother is a Barbadian, you become a citizen that way. We know that you can become a citizen by naturalization. You're living here for a number of years, let's say 5 or 7 years, and you can become a citizen by marriage. But when I actually look for concrete figures through the immigration department or what have you, I am not seeing figures, Marcia. And people are becoming citizens in Barbados, and we don't know how many. How many are becoming citizens and how they're becoming citizens? We can't say X amount became citizens through naturalization, X amount of citizens became citizens, persons became citizens by descent, X amount of persons became citizens by marriage. We just do not know what's going on. And this government must be held accountable. They must tell Barbadians what is going on with our citizenship program. They must also, another thing that I want to talk about before you come on, Marcia, we notice in the supermarket now that we see a lot of prices on food items. $10.97, $5.68. In other words, proprietors are now rounding up. Because we don't have cents in Barbados anymore, we go from 5 cents up. And we need government to pay attention to this. We need stronger consumer legislation to protect the consumer. Why are you rounding up numbers? In other words, over time, this tends to make groceries more and more expensive. Already the VAT is too high. It should have been lowered by now. But when we round up these figures, these 3 cents and 4 cents accumulated over time turns out to be thousands of dollars in a few months. So if you buy 10 items and it round up at 4 cents, 10 fours is what? 40, that's 40 cents. And when you go in the supermarket and you shop at the end of the month, sometimes you might buy 100 items. So this week you might $4 extra. Next week you might spend $6. On average, you might not realize that you might spend $20 extra because they're rounding up figures. And government must represent the people. Right now, with this one-party state, we have a de facto one-party state and we have a de facto dictator because we do not have an elected opposition. We do not, and the parliament is very, very, very weak. And is further weakened. I spoke about this the last time. We have this anti-deflection legislation. I want to bring it back up, Marcia. When you have this legislation, now it says to the member of parliament that you are supposed to toe the party line. And if you disagree with the party leadership or you offend the party in any way, they can put you. It goes beyond just crossing the floor. Read the legislation, see. If a parliamentarian realizes that he cannot really disagree with the party bosses, the party leadership. He is at pains to balance his representation. When he looks at representing the interests of the constituents versus representing the interests of his party, if he or she wants to remain in the party and in parliament, he's going to have to side with the party. And therefore, it undermines parliamentary sovereignty. It undermines representation. These are the fundamental issues that Barbadians are concerned with. This piece of legislation has really strengthened the hand of the Prime Minister. She now has a chokehold over members of Parliament. They cannot have freedom of conscience. They cannot really represent the people. They cannot get and say in St. Peter, like what's happening in St. Peter again in Six Men's Village, the water is now again brown. Just before elections, the water was looking clear. Now again, the water is getting brown. It is nasty. It is not portable. And we're not hearing from the member of Parliament for St. Peter speaking up on behalf of the residents of St. Peter. I was in St. Peter last month. I spoke about the horrible road conditions over there. The roads in Farm Road, I actually sat in one of those potholes. You probably have it there still. And about 3 days afterwards, he came and said that they are going to be fixing roads in Spikestown. Well, I have news for the Barbados Labour Party-led government and the member of Parliament for St. Peter. I will be in the field, and I will come back to the issues that the people brought to me, because I am going to represent them if you are not going to represent them.
Yeah.
You can ask me some questions. I spoke a lot.
Yeah. No, but it's important for us to be able to hear exactly what is, what you're saying, especially, you're looking at basically the report card of this government, And so I listened to you intently, and I wondered, are you saying that do you think then that every ministry should publish probably an annual scorecard, right? Showing what targets they were that were promised and what targets they actually achieved, because we would have heard a lot of promises during election, like you talked about the water in St. Peter, in a particular part in St. Peter that was clear before the election. Now the election is over and the water is gone back to dirty. I'm hearing the same thing for St. Lucie. So should there be annual scorecards showing what targets were promised and what targets were actually achieved?
Marcia, you are exactly correct. People get on a bandwagon, they hold a lot of facts and parties, and they try to woo the public. But that does not make you an effective government. It does not make you a viable government. A government should be judged by measurable results, not slogans, not public relations, not personalities. We must move beyond that. And Barbadians are seeing the shenanigan of the Barbados Labour Party. They have been able, in a short span, to woo people through facts and parties and so on. But now, where are the results? The roads are still in a state of disrepair. Like even our highways, there are still potholes all over the place. The roads are in a state of disrepair. You have stretches of the highway. I'm not even talking about minor roads or roads in the country. I'm talking about the highways and byways, the highways in Barbados. You have coming from Mile and Quarter to Bakers in St. Peter, almost 2 kilometers, not a single street light burning. And I'm not lying on these people. You can go on the highway and look for yourself. And the further north you come, the worse it gets. This government has abandoned ordinary Barbadians.
Yes.
And that is why we now have an issue with migrant labor. I was on the news this morning speaking about it. And I want to tell Tony Moore that even though you are a union boss and you came out and spoke against the unacceptable living conditions of migrant workers, we also know that you are part of the problem, because you are part of this government. And you should either have known or you know and you did nothing. So government is either unable to deal with the situation or is ignoring the situation. And even though you want to wear two hats, we know there's a conflict of interest. You really cannot represent two masters. You're either going to lie to one and deceive the other. And we can see what is happening. She should not have waited until there was a press release to play that she coming out and talking. She is part of government policy. And contracts should not have been awarded unless you know who these people are and where they're going to live and so on and so forth. You should not have awarded contracts if government did not inspect where these people were going to stay. So you're crying foul. She's crying foul.
Yeah. Well, you know, Jason, this is someone said, you know, the people, we have become, I guess, you know, caught up in a lot of party promises. You know, we've been political slogans instead of demanding, as you talked about, measurable results. You know, we are more focused on the slogans and on the speeches and so on. But my final question to you, Jason, if government had to stand before Barbadians every year and defend itself, right? And using what your term, using only measurable outcomes rather than the speeches and the announcements, do you think that our politics would look very different today?
Yes, because remember what a member of parliament is. A parliamentarian is a representative for a constituency, a group of people within a certain location on the island. And each constituency may have a different need. Some might have similar needs. But a parliamentarian is not a celebrity, he's a servant. Mm-hmm. And therefore, if you know that your seat is dependent on your stewardship over a prescribed period of time, 5 years, and at the end of that 5 years, you cannot give account for the work you have done, then and you are found wanting, you might even find yourself wanting a seat too. But how it is now, we have no opposition in parliament to question these people. So a lot of things are happening under the rug that Barbadians do not even understand or know of. This government, right? So therefore, I must say, Barbados deserve leadership that can restore confidence. We need low cost of living. We need reduce crime. We need to grow the economy. And I want to stick a pen there because I don't have much time. Marcia, I want to say it to you very slowly. Our debt right now stands at 94.6%. That means that on a yearly basis, the amount of money that we generate in every dollar, we have to spend $94.60 servicing our debt. It means that we got just over 5 cents. We got 5 cents basically to pay for our services. That would be education, healthcare, repair roads, pay police officers, and so on and so forth. So this government is walking around keeping a lot of noise about modest improvements. It's a very serious thing. 94.6% of our GDP, right, is spent on servicing debt. This government needs to grow the economy. It needs to support Barbadian families.
Yeah.
It needs to recover our demographics. We do not have enough babies being produced in Barbados. And if you look quietly, we are bringing a lot of foreigners. And I heard Maxine earlier spoke about it. Barbadians want work. But this government seems to be treating the migrant workers better than the Barbadians. And Barbadians are going to be very, very Barbados are going to remember that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We need to protect the integrity of our citizenship and by extension, passport. Right? And we need to restore faith in our democracy. The facts speaks for themselves. Barbadians deserve better.
Correct. Correct. Wow. The people deserve better. The people deserve answers. And once again, Mr. Phillips, thank you. And we are
Yeah.
very excited.
That can be a half hour already.
Yes, it is, because it's going so good. It's going so good. And so we look forward to having you next week. We are going to go right into this Blackbelly sheep, which we've been promising the people to talk about.
Viewers, we must hold Marcia's feet to the fire. Hold her feet. She can do this to me every week.
But it's 30 minutes. Miss McLean had 30 as well.
5 to 6 minutes.
But because it's so good, you're doing such a great job, then it seems it does go through.
Marcia, when you come in and St. Peter and do a video, you promise me for the longest while.
I will. I plan to. I really
I
plan
want to
to.
see that video one more time before I go.
Repeat, please. Oh, you want to see your video? Dave,
more time.
let's play the video
Okay,
with Jason just before he goes. Okay, folks, as we are as Jason is closing out this very informative session tonight, we are getting ready to talk about the Blackbelly sheep. We're going to ask you to get ready to call in. We want to present some of the information to you, and then you can call in. Go ahead, Dave. That was you. We missed him there. Yeah.
Hey, Owen.
Listen, you can't come in this video because you're too young. But I want all the good people, good evening, ma'am, how you doing? I want all the good people to see that I am here in Guatemala. And I am born here with my people. That's enough, no stop there.
All right, Mr. Phillips, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. So we see you again next week, Sunday. Yes, thank you.
Yes. And goodbye to the good people. No, until next time, good people of St. Peter and Barbados. Thank you, Marcia.
God bless you. God bless you,
Thank
Jason.
you as well.
Yes, all right. Jason, I'm telling you, he is, to me, he is doing what every aspiring politician needs to be doing is what Jason is doing. And I really, really admire him for that, full of spunk and fire and, determination. Well, folks, we've been talking to you about these, the missing Blackbelly sheep. Where is Barbados' national treasure, and what has Barbados received? And let me say this to you that, we're making, as I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of jokes about it. Some people saying that the sheep has been curried, and we're making fun. We're being funny about it because as Caribbean people, that's how we are. We make fun of things that matter. It's hurting us, and we. But tonight I want to bring over the seriousness of this whole thing, right? Barbados is national treasure. What has Barbados received? We're asking questions about something that belongs to every Barbadian. So, as I said, I know we put the comedy on it, but I want us to really think about this. This is the black-bellied sheep has become a Barbados national treasure. You might say, well, it came from somewhere else and came here. But it is called the Barbados black-bellied sheep. It belongs to every Barbadian, not to one political party, not to a government, but to our country. That's where I want our heads to get at. I want to remind us that the Barbados black-bellied sheep is one of the world's few truly indigenous sheep breeds. This breed of sheep is recognized internationally and ours carries the name of Barbados. It's part of our agricultural history. It's part of our heritage, and it's part of our identity. So it's no wonder most Barbadians were surprised, very surprised, when under the Barbados-Guyana Agriculture Partnership, 1,000 Barbados Blackbelly sheep were being exported to Guyana as part of a regional breeding program. People were like, what? How do you take our national treasure? What are you doing? When did we have a discussion about this? And so that agreement formed part of what was called the St. Barnabas Accord. And it envisioned Guyana's land and grazing resources would be used, to expand the breed while ultimately benefiting both countries. But right away, that something about that sounds funny. But it was made to happen. We barely had any opposition. When Mr. Thorne went in, he was the first one, started to publicly ask about the Blackbelly sheep. We were doing it on the show, but with the profile that the opposition leader had, it carried a greater weight. And he brought that into Parliament. Nobody was asking it. Now, at the time when this Barnabas Accord was done, we Barbadians were told that there would be benefits, right? We were told we were not giving away the sheep. We were told Barbados would benefit from increased production, improved genetics, exports, food security, and new commercial opportunities. This is what we were told. Those were the promises. So tonight we simply ask, what has Barbados actually received? Increased production, improved genetics, exports, food security, new commercial opportunities. What has Barbados actually received? And where is our sheep? Now, we're hearing reports coming out of Guyana, and at this point, I'm going to ask Dave to play a little bit of that that video, a video by the opposition leader. And this is what happens, and you would know from Mr. Thorne, when you have a strong opposition. We are here in Barbados discussing what the strong opposition is speaking about. This is what happened. So go right ahead, Dave.
My fellow Guyanese, after a most exhausting search, we have found the missing Blackbelly sheep on President Irfan's ranch. As seen here, the flock of approximately 200 sheep of various age, breed, and stage are housed in an elevated structure with multiple quarters. Built with intention, a wide central walkway runs through the middle, giving workers easy access to each quarter for feeding, watering, and inspections. The raised slated wooden floors allow the manure and urine to fall through the gaps below to keep the pens drier, reduce disease risk, and reduce labor for cleaning. This is the type of infrastructure for a successful farm operation, and this costs approximately $10 million. Now let's talk about the value of the sheep themselves. At an average live weight of 90 pounds per sheep and $1,000 per pound, 200 sheep are worth approximately $18 million. So while Irfan and Zulfi are giving our local sheep farmers one ram,
I had about a door per ram, and then the government gave me a Blackbelly ram.
the president has 200 alone here. And just imagine how many were already sold. That is putting people first.
Yeah, we could pause it right there. We could pause it right there. So now these are the allegations that are coming out of Guyana, right? about this these Blackbelly sheep. Now, what we are being told as well, since we just before the show started, the president has he's acknowledged, yes, I do have I have a ranch, and he said that the ranch, I'm reading here, that President Ali admits he owns the ranch and acquired it before coming into office. But the question remains, the 200, did you get to, we want to ask Ifran Ali, did you get 200 plus of our Blackbelly sheep on your private farm? Ifran Ali, did you get 200 plus of our Blackbelly sheep on your private farm? How did that work out? What was that all about? Is that a special arrangement with you and the Prime Minister? Mia Motley, I don't know. We just asking questions about what belongs to us. See? Where is Barbados' side of the story? Guyana is saying, we don't see it, but they're saying that the original flock has multiplied to more than 5,000 sheep. The little lady said she just get one. We're hearing reports out of Guyana that a lot of the sheep died. We heard that. Is that true? Where you said that in Guyana, officials, they said they have more than 5,000 sheep. Can we see them? And that over 450 to 500 farmers have benefited from the program? Is the president part of one of those beneficiaries from the program with 200 sheep? Where is Barbados' side of the story? If this grand thing is happening in Guyana, what about us? Yeah. And we understand what is being said in Guyana, that there are allegations made by the opposition voices, right? But we are concerned tonight, our concern is Barbados. Because whether those allegations prove true or false, the people of Barbados still deserve answers. We have searched the newspaper reports. I did that. And Ms. McLean is going to come on a little later. She can tell me I might be wrong. Government announcements, we look at the agricultural updates, public statement, and despite all the promises, we have not found any comprehensive public report. We understand, we hear the promises. No public report explaining exactly what Barbados has received in return for exporting 1,000 of our national sheep. And I know we're laughing about it. When you talk about sheep, everybody bursts out laughing, but it's really not that funny. So tonight we ask respectfully the government these questions. We're asking the government respectfully, how many Barbados Blackbelly sheep remain in Barbados today? How many sheep have been returned to Barbados from the program? Has Barbados received any export revenue? Have Barbadian farmers received breeding stock from the expanded program that the Guyanese are claiming? Have we received in Barbados any meat products from Guyana? Have Barbadian butchers been trained as was originally promised? Any butchers out there? Have you been trained? Has Barbados developed the leather industry that was discussed when this program began? We remember it. We're not going to let go of this. What about the leather industry? How much has Barbados saved on imported lamb as a result of this partnership? Have we received any dividends, profits, royalties, or any commercial return from this joint initiative? Finally, can you please publish a full report so Barbadians know what has happened to our greatest agricultural assets? I don't think this is an unreasonable request. Those of you who are watching from the government, I know you're glued on, you're watching. I do not think this is an unreasonable request. Do you? Why I don't think it's an unreasonable request? This breed carries our country's name. When someone says Barbados Blackbelly sheep, they are saying Barbados. That name belongs to every citizen. And so we are not making an unreasonable request. You took up 1,000 of what belongs to us and took them somewhere, and we have not gotten any proper accountability on it. We get promises. Early this year, we know there's something also interesting I found as I was preparing, that early this year, Barbados announced an $800,000 program to revive sheep farming locally. They were focusing on breeding, genetics, and farmer support. The question is $800,000 for this program. Ms. McLean can help me when she comes on. Some of you viewers can help. If the regional program has been a success, why is Barbados now having to rebuild locally? Do you follow what I'm saying? They said earlier this year that there is this program. They announced $800,000 for this program to revive sheep locally. And they're focusing on the same things that they promised years ago when they took the 1,000 sheep. So if the regional program, if Guyana's program was so successful, why is Barbados now having to rebuild locally? I think that's a reasonable question. Those of you are read and ready, what do you think? So this is bigger than sheep, you know. We're talking about accountability here. We're talking about national assets. Governments, we know that. We know this. You might not know it, but governments are temporary. But I'm here to tell you that the heritage of Barbados belongs to generations yet unborn. That's what you have to understand. And that's why accountability is a must. We are requesting information, and I wish we would stop making a comedy of this thing. Show the people the results, show us the numbers, show us the report. We want to see the benefits. Guyana can point to thousands of sheep. If Guyana can point to hundreds of farmers, thousands of sheep, Guyana can point to expanding production, then we are entitled to know what has Barbados gained. It's not just livestock. It's a part of who we are. And every Barbadian has a right to know whether this national treasure has produced the benefits that were promised. That, my people, is not politics. That is patriotism. And I know I make fun of it sometimes, but I really wish we would get very serious about this thing. This is very, very serious. Let me see if Miss McLean's mic and my mic working together now. Oh boy. Now her picture is gone. Oh Lord, she's stuck. Good night, Miss McLean. Can you hear me? She's stuck now, Dave. Well, guys, the line is open. The line is open. Please call. Okay, she's back. She's back. Let me remove this one. Let's see if this will work. Okay. Good night, Miss McLean.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, and we're not. Thank God. Thank
Well,
God.
I adjusted. I went in and looked to see what, and in an effort to make sure that I had everything, I realized that there was some echo thing that wasn't echo suppressant that wasn't turned on, some fancy thing. So
Right.
um, I laugh, but this is serious business, Marcia. I listen, fun, and I must say this to our audience. I saw the promo for the program, and I saw the question about Blackbelly sheep. Little did I know that I would receive from some folks in Guyana that exact video today. And I said, Marcia is asking about the sheep, because I started to watch the video. And I said, you're asking about the sheep. Here's the answer. But I didn't realize you had some of the information. And I want to say this. You were not able to show all that was seen there in that video. And of
Currently,
course, we know that there are allegations. But let me quickly say to Barbadians, the
President
allegation
Irfan's
is that
house are worth 64.
Go ahead, Miss McLean.
What we have here is a video talking about a ranch that is allegedly owned by the president of Guyana, 150-acre ranch. Okay, it talks about a 2.2 mile road leading to this property, and it tells you that it was totally forested before, and to clear it, the cost, etc. What had me concerned is it's not only Blackbelly sheep, it's cattle, it's chickens, and a whole set of things. Excellent idea, but the Guyanese will have to look into the details of that. But you know, it just made me wonder. We have, if I come back now to these Blackbelly sheep, we have asked the government, we have asked the government's consultant to send us some pictures. We never got a picture in this country. We never got a full report. And here it is now, we are seeing images suggesting, until we are told otherwise, that some of these sheep, 200 or 20% of the 1,000, would apparently might have ended up on this ranch. And I asked myself, even if it belongs to Joe Blow, and in this case, the allegation is that it belongs to the president of Guyana. Here in Barbados, we have the Prime Minister of Barbados came back to us trumpeting a project where we were building a facility to house and distribute produce from Guyana. I will ask the question now. Is there, or will there be any contemplation? That poor sheep look hungry though. Let me go. Is there, or will there be any contemplation of this facility being supplied by this 250-acre ranch, whoever it belongs to? Because you see, sometimes when you start to hear these stories, it makes you ask some questions. Who is intended to benefit from some of these projects that are done in the name of the people? And therefore, I call on the Prime Minister, because she is the person who announced and speaks to. She's done it in the past. She announced in the past, and she has spoken to it more than once. I asked the former Minister of Agriculture. I asked the current Minister of Agriculture, when we look at these projects, who are we going to be dealing with? And I will ask another question. We have talked about Guyana here. I have been getting rumors out of another CARICOM state right next door, Suriname. And I asked the question, does any Barbadian own a major pig farm or pig operation in Suriname? And if so, who is that person, or who are those persons? And furthermore, are we being required or recommended that we import pork from Suriname, which may come from that facility. Because you see, it is okay for us to trumpet good governance, etc., but we also need to see it lifted off the paper. Because I am hearing all kinds of things. And there's a saying that I heard from the time I was a child, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Smoke doesn't come by itself. And so, you know, we are seeing these things and they are not benefiting the people. Guyana is a massive country, so I mean it is possible that the president might be preparing for his, if this is his, might be preparing for his retirement. But I mean, I will say this, the same way that I got that video today and you got it at some point in time, other people probably have seen it. And it leaves a lot of questions to be asked and answered. Because while, as I said, well, certainly in the case of the government in which I serve, we were not expected to be actively involved in business while we were sitting there. I resigned from every board. I shut up the company that I had registered to run as when I left the university and all of that. I operated within the expectations of the people who appointed me. But these kind of things leave a very bitter taste in people's mouths. Because, you know, we hear about all these things. We cannot get answers. But of course, if you have a 2.2 kilometer, where I lived in Black Rock was about 3 miles from Bridgetown. So you can work out that in relation to how many kilometers that would have been. And that's a long kind of stretch. So reporters can't easily get in there. I mean, of course, you can people probably use drones and things to take pictures. But at the heart of this, as you said, whatever is happening in Guyana is happening in Guyana, and Guyanese will address that directly. My question is, to the extent that it has possible links or connections to Barbados and a particular situation, that is the exporting of our Blackbelly sheep under some specific program that was intended to produce them, given the size of Guyana, and sell us. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying something, Marcia.
Right. When the caller comes on, we can hardly hear. Caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Weekes Show.
Yes, a blessing to you, Marcia Weekes and Marcia McLean.
Good night.
Hey, good evening, sir.
My name is Tony Hall.
Yes, sir.
I find that there are a lot of corrupt governments in the Caribbean, and I do not put a lot for a lot of the people. But what you call a real say? I find that a lot of governments is taking people for granted. And you honestly know, I don't know why the Caribbean people don't band together and come out and look to represent each other. Because any day is a change in the Caribbean of this corruption. So when we put it to the flow, these governments is gonna do to realize that, you know, in togetherness in the Caribbean, even their own country. So these people pushing to see how far they could go.
Yeah.
I feel the more dirty agenda that these governments are all about. And it's something the one people, because the any day, you know, when we have vote, no, I don't vote for Barbados Party because I don't even have a drive program, anyhow. But when the people go and vote for them, right? They vote to be loyal to people.
Yes.
And I find a lot of governments is disloyal to the people.
Disloyal, correct.
And the honest truth, I find that I don't know what the law courts or whatever doing, but I feel that less being done, but I feel more to be done. Yes.
And you have a point there, because we're hearing of corruption in Jamaica, corruption it's been alleged in Guyana, so many of the different Caribbean countries. And as you're right, we're all being taken advantage of. You know, we vote for them, and yeah. But what are your thoughts about this Blackbelly sheep before you go, caller?
Well, basically, right? Yeah, it's something the Bajans wants the game. Because we have no physical food security, what are we going to give away food? What are we giving away food? We don't have no food security.
Good question. Yeah. I know Miss McLean said it's a good idea. There's some of the ideas that they have, I think it's a good idea. I differ with her on it because right away I know that somebody go outsmart somebody. You know, I can't say it. I can't say it. I couldn't. I just from the time I heard of it, caller, I differ with my colleague here. I always knew those sheep they're not coming back here. It wasn't going to happen. You know, you have some countries. You know, Barbados is the kind of country where the others, they could outsmart them a little bit. I didn't expect them sheep to come back. I'm sorry. I might be accused of being what's the word with the word stereotyping people, but I didn't see them sheep coming back. And as you rightly said, well, we don't have no food, and we take up meat, and I said, well,
They don't want to be at Barbados eat the one. None of these cannibals, though.
Thank you so much, caller, for calling. That was funny. Thank you.
Okay, blessings to you. Toronto, over here.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
All right, we will secure the food.
Okay.
All right. Okay, no problem. No problem. Yes, all right. Good night, caller. Miss McLean, any comment there before a caller comes in? The calls are coming in furious now.
Well, if there's another call, I was just concerned. I mean, I am not an agriculturist. I'm not a scientist of any kind. But I was wondering, how does the blackbelly sheep adjust to living on a wooden platform? Go ahead. I think you have a caller.
I am sorry. I can't hear you, Miss McLean. I can hear the caller. I'm so sorry about that. Go right ahead, caller.
Hi. Good night, Marcia. Good night, Karen.
Good night. Yes, sir.
Good night to my lower position. A couple of things. Just a couple comments. First of all, some comments related to what Jason Phillips was saying earlier, right? Yes, we had the issues in the previous elections with people somehow being brought any way, allegedly they were seen at predictor polls.
Right, but caller, let me stop it. Caller, can you hear me?
Yes.
There, I don't know. Are you close to a fan?
No, I'm not. I'm not near the fan at all.
Because we can barely hear. It's grating the air. You see? I don't know what is the problem.
We move to a different room. We move. I'll go outside on the patio. Let me see if that would work. I'm outside on the patio. Is this bad?
Okay, go ahead. Make it as quick as possible then. Oops. Make it as quick as possible. Make it as concise as possible.
Yeah, so the concise thing. Basically, we have asked for transparency. This government is a government that pretended and proclaimed and yelled that they were going to be transparent what's going on in agriculture, what's going on in the Labor Department. The unions have failed us. The Minister of Labor has failed the people. And the former MP of Agriculture, we would like to know what portfolio he really has now, right? Promised about the carcass of the blackbelly sheep to come back. They never came back. They can't find a way back here. But yet you have plenty calls for overruns with the same Guyana and bringing in the so-called houses that were the steel houses that were building down there and what have you. And they wasted the money in even packing a 40-foot container right? With a very small set of potatoes, saying sweet potatoes, sending it all over to England just for a sample. But yet you talk security, there's no food security. So they failed in agriculture. And yet we have to hear the new MP of agriculture speaking about that 800,000. And you don't see what's going on in agriculture. A lot of big pipe dreams, but no realities behind these pipe dreams that this government, this failure, that is as concise as I can put it. We need transparency and we need to stand up for democracy.
Thank you, caller.
Simple as that.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Yes.
Can I quickly correct Tanisha Ford? Miss Ford, Dr. Leroy McLean, you should ask the question first. He's not my brother. As a McLean, he may be related to me. I don't know. I would have to check. I've known him for many years, but he's not my brother. I had 7 brothers. I only have 2 left. And neither one of them is called Leroy. So he's not my brother, but
he's not your brother.
I can still pick up the phone and find him and ask him about this shit. But just for the record, he's not my brother. He's
not your brother. Okay. But we have another caller, Miss McLean. We have another caller. Good night, caller.
Good night, Marcy, and good night, Maxine. Good night.
Yes, good night, sir. Good night. And any thoughts on this Blackbelly sheep?
Yes. Ask Sandra Husbands. She is the first minister of sheep. It wasn't 1,000 sheep that left here. It wasn't 1,000 sheep. 3 plane load of sheep went to Guyana. You know, Sandra Husband speaks the Queen's English.
Yes.
You know, she speaks. She stood next to a sentence word like, fellow Barbadians. The sheep go to Guyana. They increase and they multiply. And she said, how the when the kids slaughtered them, the carcasses will be returned back to Barbados. And she talked about all these millions of dollars in foreign exchange. And foreign exchange that we pay to get New Zealand lamb here. Now, I got 7 Guyanese friends.
Yes.
The go and come. I meet a lot of them. Wait, hold a minute. I meet a lot of them when he came back here from Grenada. What year it was? 98, 99. I officially got home in 99.
Yes.
And I remember, St. George Church, when it was building the police station and the post office and the community center. I work on that project with a lot of Guyanese. And they're I still have them. Still have them on my brain. We sometimes see them in Bridgetown. We do the communication via phone, etc. They're also telling me, they must see them. They must see none. Right. I got a former girlfriend down there now. And she tell me, none of down there, she didn't see them.
Yeah, that's
I think that hurt me. Where they gone? Who got them?
Well, it appears we don't know. There are 200. Well, all we can say there are 200 Blackbelly sheep. It's been reported that at the president. 200 with the president have a ranch. I didn't know the president had all of that.
Huh?
There's a luxury estate, 150-acre private luxury estate ranch with 200 Blackbelly sheep. They are there, and this president is more of a farmer than I mean, where would he get all that time? But anyway, so there are 200 of them that they allegedly that they can find.
I won't take up much time. I want to get let me get a piece of the QEH. I experienced some of that. Well, I stopped In other words, I decided to make like Saturdays or Sunday to go for my medication.
Yes.
Last week now, but the rain, I went the Saturday, I went the Sunday. When you get to the thing, the security guard, I tell you, security guy, got the pharmacist, you know, you get a number at the door, you get at the door when you come in. She said, have I got a ticket? No. Have I got a ticket that from yesterday and this Sunday? That the only dealing with people that come had a ticket from Saturday.
Oh my God.
I think I said, no, I ain't got neither one of them. She tell me I had to come back Monday. So, I said, okay. I left there. I had I think I had an L bar and the other ones in my pocket. The Monday morning, I get up. I went to my usual pharmacist.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I asked the prices. I said, Laura, what am I going to thing? Well, the price is right. I might buy my own medication. No, I come up with some conclusions at that QEH. That either I end up them paying the supplier for the medication. You know, the IMS tell them, can't have fear, come back. Remember all of that?
Yeah.
That's a part of it. Can't have care me to me, cut medication, do this, do that. We don't know. And who's the minister of health? I don't know that. You know, live in a country, I don't know that. Honestly, now I watching you and Maxine and the man there from Guyana. I don't know the Barbados party cabinet. I go ask.
Right, because you only see the prime minister really.
And you know, who you come back? Somebody minister of health.
She's that's Lisa Cummins.
Lisa Cummins, look. I like my word from Grenada. Look, go off the stage, man. You turn on a computer, you turn on put them on the night, you want everything. I got to put in the code before you start off.
Yeah.
She put in the code and she computer yet. To start, the people work and you crash. And I'm telling you now, silly. You are a big man. You're not born in a yard. You're squanting for no work in this country.
Yes.
Do not take any information from them to come over here and tell me. Let Lisa come and tell me. You got social media, you got CBC, you got GIS. Seriously, do not take no information from them to come out here to tell me. Because I don't know you're going to be lying.
Oh, Lordy. Well,
you're going to be lying. Stop it.
Well,
the matter with me here in town, you know, for a foot spirit level, I will plumb you first.
Yeah.
Never hear about brass, balls, and fisherman language. You'll never see them with tongue again.
You know, but you know, you're rightly saying, you know, that you don't know most of these ministers, and part of that is because the prime minister, I mean, her figure, her position and her presence is so strong. But thank you, caller, for calling. We want to leave the line open for some other callers. Thank you for calling. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. God bless you. Yeah. Miss McLean, go right ahead.
No, I am smiling because
Listen, don't talk unless you put the password in the computer. Did you put in the code in the computer before you came on the show?
I am working, so I had to put in my password to prepare my presentation. Marcia, I just sent this to Dave because as you were talking, you see, you Google something because I was Googling when Commissioner was talking about the number sheet. And I Googled to see the number that went. And then this item came up. It says the government of Guyana's Blackbelly sheep has grown from an initial import of 1,000 sheep in 2022 to more than 5,000 animals. But if you go and look at the commentary, somebody called Suraj Ramlakhan says that picture was from 2022. Show us a 2026 picture. This is...
Right, it's right there.
This is look like the abattoir story with the old picture of Brazilian cows. 2 white elephants for the zoo. So what this, I must laugh. But seriously, what this is saying is that even the people in Guyana are not buying the story.
Yes.
So this issue is one that continues to befuddle us.
But Ms. McLean, if I could ask you there, this is such an important thing that you brought up here. Dave, let's read the comments from the Guyanese. This
Exactly.
is a thing. This is a you know, we're laughing, but it's a very serious situation.
Yes.
That picture they said was from 2022. Shows
This is what one man is saying, Suraj Ramlakhan.
Suraj, right. Look at what Elisandra is saying from Guyana. The jokes write themselves. And Olney Barnett says, name the farmers and the amounts. We know who owns and enjoys those sheep. They were further.
Again.
Name the farmers and addresses so the opposition leader can visit to see what Blackbelly sheep look like in real life. Last farming visit only had pens with bush on the steps, no sheep inside, and he was disappointed. This is from Guyana, Barbados. Those of you who drink the red juice, this is but Coretta had been telling us that they could not find them. Honorable Coretta McDonald.
Well,
somebody right here. Mutton comes from Leeds.
Lethem is an area just northern Brazil. Lethem, that's a small city, no, not city, small town or village of northern Brazil. You can just cross the bridge and get to Lethem from. Try to remember because I actually went across from to Lethem on a visit a time we were in Guyana.
Yeah, Dave, go up and let's see what Mr. McLean, or if we get any more comments. So does it mean that 450 farmers, Dave, had received at least 11 sheep each?
Then Debbie Pitt goes on to say, go a little further, and Debbie is saying that these sheep was supposed to be slaughtered and the meat sent to Barbados. How much pound y'all sent so far?
We're making bad things, we turn laughing, but this is because it's
if you do not laugh, you will cry. In all seriousness, I mean, it. Sometimes you laugh when, I mean, just to de-stress, because this is ridiculous. Here we were questioning, asking to show, but here the Guyanese now are telling us what is not happening or what is happening. On the one hand, we seem to see that they're on some large acre farm, 200 Blackbelly sheep. And in fact, I don't know if you noticed, there was one picture with Blackbelly sheep and the black sheep. So I was saying, I mean, if you want to play on words or whatever, but they obviously probably looking to maybe get into some crossbreeding to improve the quality and whatever else. No, I can, in all seriousness, I can say to Barbadians, if you want some information on on sheep, there's a Barbadian guy, I'm trying to remember his name now. His surname is Hunt, and he was very much into sheep. I remember he came to Barbados and did a presentation with some young people, and goats. There's also he's not a Barbadian, he's an American born of Bajan parents, a medical doctor who used to come home as a boy every summer to St. John to his grandparents, and who has in Texas several Blackbelly sheep that he really got into farming coming home, and he raises Blackbelly sheep, and he's done some breeding and those kind of things in a serious way, that if you're looking to probably enhance the meat, on the sheep and whatever else. My question really and truly, and I will ask the question, somebody says if I ask Dr. McLean questions, they would probably wouldn't talk to me. He'd be very wrong to follow with somebody who might be his, well, not his sister, but might be his cousin, if he can trace our ancestry, to get offended at a question that he himself used to want to be politician would expect to ask, and he would ask, what happened to these? But of course, public officers, and even though he's a consultant, I would say he's a public officer in a sense, perhaps sometimes have to take the time from their minister. Public officers are not free to answer everything. So as consultant, he may say, look, I have to be guided by my minister before I can speak. So I would say to the person, I don't remember who was telling me that he may not talk to me again if I ask the question. In all seriousness, I say to Minister Monroe Knight, that's her name, Chantal Monroe Knight, Dr. Monroe Knight, can you give us, as taxpayers of this country, a full report on this Blackbelly sheep project in light of the allegations that are being made about a mega farm being owned by the president of Guyana? As I said, the president of Guyana or his family, I suppose, are free to own all kinds of things. I don't know what the rules are about investing and all that. I don't know how long it existed, whatever the case may be. But it is something that touches on a project, a national project, a project that is funded nationally, that had an impact on the Blackbelly sheep industry in Barbados. Because I heard you talking about rebuilding. So this, we may laugh because, we need to inject some humor sometimes to bring our blood pressures back down. But we need to know what is going on. These people talk about transparency and good governance when it suits them. In the same way that we've been talking about this situation and we don't get answers, I want to say something in relation to what I talked about tonight. The Prime Minister of Barbados goes around the world talking about reparations. I have no issue with a call for reparations. We can get into this. Is something that was taking place when I was Minister of Foreign Affairs. We can talk about how it should happen and whatever. But it is ironic. It is contradictory. It is ridiculous. I can go on with all kinds of descriptors. That we have a prime minister who is on the international stage talking about these things. But here in Barbados, we have a situation where our people, and I use our people to extend beyond Barbadians, because we talk about CARICOM, because those people are in there, Jamaicans, Guyanese, Vincentians. We talk about people from, if we extend it hemispherically, we are part of OAS. People from South and Central America are in this country working under conditions which I am sure have long been known to many people. Not only have they been known, they're being raised, but we cannot get any answers, or we're now getting after the fact, what I would call righteous indignation, people jumping up and complaining. We've been talking about these things for a long time. Yeah. Similarly, if we talk about reparations, what about making sure that people who have been done wrong to by their employers and have gone through the process of going to a tribunal, and repeating some of what I said earlier, cannot get the monies owed to them? In situations where some of the people don't work or continue to work in low paying jobs and all kinds of things. And you're going to sit and come and then, walk around this world getting all these kudos as Barbados Prime Minister, this and that, and at home, this nonsense is going on. We can't even get a proper answer about these sheep. You know, how much money was spent?
Right.
What was the cost? What's the cost to the industry of not having? You know, ironically, Marcia, you know, I cooked this weekend
some lamb.
Of course, and that's the only lamb I buy.
You always tell me that.
I say so all the time. That's the only lamb
I haven't had any in a long time. I haven't had any Blackbelly.
Next time, and I usually have to ask somebody. The next time, I promise you, Dave, are you listening? I will get some and make sure that Marcia gets some. Now, if she don't cook it for you, that's another story.
I will. I love to cook.
No, because I love our local lamb. But every time you talk to people, it's like, it's hard to get. I mean, it's been a problem for years, and I thought that we would be working on that. Now, and I say to you, and I used to believe that we, you know, with a larger physical space like Guyana, but I am concerned. What about sheep living on wooden floors? You know, somebody asked about the feeding of these things earlier. You know.
I just, you know, I mean, I just, things like when you get into those kinds of arrangements, you would have to be very detailed and so on, to be able to get, you know, for there to be any returns on those kind of, it's very, I somehow I just never felt it was going to work. And I mean, they know it's not working. If you notice, there's something I talked about, this $800 program that they have now. They said they talked about it earlier this year. People can go and research it to revive the sheep farming locally. And if that program was a success, which we know it's not a success, they know it. They know it, Miss McLean, that it's not a success. If that program was a success,
it'll be all over the place.
You think that they would be having? Why would they be trying to rebuild locally now and doing the same thing? Because that program that they're now starting, this new program in Barbados, it's focused on breeding, genetics, and farmer support. Some of the same promises that were made with the regional program. So obviously, it's not working. They're coming up with another program, and they're spending. We don't, as you read, we said we don't know how much money. It's 1,000 sheep. You know how much money that must be to ship them.
Marcia, I have to give you a laugh. Somebody here said Guyana now start producing Blackbelly sheep in tin.
In tin. No, because that's how I feel. I mean, I feel that, you know, if this is something that is so precious to Barbados, I don't know if that was the best solution. But you know, that's just me with my lay knowledge. I just didn't buy it. But you know, we are 9:59, and as you said, you know, sometimes the matter is serious, but as somebody who's I come from a patriotic background, and for me, this is very, very, this is like, I can't imagine them doing this. I can't imagine it. And the fact that there's nothing, they refuse to tell us the truth. They refuse to show us the pictures of the 5,000 sheep.
Well, we are not the only ones asking the question. No, we've seen some pictures of sheep. One lady said she got one. She said, or a couple, or.
We have to laugh. These people, they said 450 farmers. But Coretta McDonald had been telling us that the sheep, that they're not there.
Well, I heard from somebody who went home to his country that people, because at the end of Ramadan, there's a meal. No, serious. There's a meal of rice and lamb. I remember being served it at the end. So the person told me that many of them were eaten. No, this is from a Guyanese who lives in Barbados. So maybe some were eaten Some were kept for breeding. But ironically, I was one of the last times I was in Guyana, just around the time they were talking about this. I actually saw a flock of Blackbelly sheep. So, I mean, people probably have had some before. Now, when I saw those, that was in the early days of, I would have to look back in my passport to see the exact month that I was there. But this is a serious matter because clearly, as you can see from that arrangement, the ability, because this is another question. No, this is for the agriculturalists in our midst. What do you see as the challenge or the challenges to raising sheep in the way that they have to? Because one of the things that was said to me is that in a lot of places, because of the fact that, you know, a lot of the land is often, there's water on the land and so on, that the animals will have a rotten of a sheep would have a hoofs, I suppose, of the, you know, the feet.
Yes, I heard that as well.
So that is why they put them on those platforms or whatever. Now, my question is, how easy or otherwise is it for a sheep to adapt to those conditions? I don't know. I mean, this may be part of the experimentation and so on. And if that is the case, as I said, experimenting in the name of really creating a viable industry intended to you know, expand the industry and everything. As I said, I am interested in the research that would be done and the outcomes, etc. Yeah. But when you start to hear some of these other stories, it makes you, makes you really concerned. Yeah. So do not count any sheep before you go to sleep. Instead of falling asleep, you will probably stay awake.
Somebody said that's all we're going to do tonight. But guys, you know, as you said, Miss McLean, you know, there is a serious part of it, but it's also funny. You have to give that. It's funny. But thank you, Miss McLean, for joining us tonight. And we will see you, I think we'll see you again on Friday night. And I want to just let everybody know that Dr. Aline is back, and he will be joining us tomorrow night. We are going to also have with us Maurice
Gaskin.
Thank you, Maurice Gaskin. And he will be continue to talk to us about mosquitoes, and he's going to go a bit into bed bugs tomorrow. And we also have our lawyer. We say our lawyer. He will be joining us as well. Lawyer attorney Corey Beckles will be on tomorrow. You know, Mondays are packed. So we will see you all tomorrow, guys. And God bless you. And sleep well. At least you put a smile on your face, although it is a serious issue. Somebody said we need to march about the sheep. That would be interesting. That would be a funny march. And I said, Michelle, we need a song. But anyway, we'll see what she comes up with. All right, guys. So good night. Thank you, Miss McLean. Thank you to Jason Phillips. Thank you, Dave. Thanks to everybody who called in. You're very much part of this program. Thank you to everyone. And God bless you. Thanks to all the viewers. God bless you. Have a good night.
No matter where you go in this world, there is no place like home. I in my zone. You better hold on and take control. Deep down in Barbados soul, all they see is gold. To all my friends and family, lock your house before your party. They might watch your property and come offer your big money. You must protect your legacy. Leave something for your family. Tell them real and come again. But come and take a job with me. But Bajans not for sale. My people not for sale. No, enjoy the beach and sun. paycheck to paycheck. Loan sharks lurk in society, complain of agents who struggle financially. But I'm telling my friends and family, lock your house before your party. They might watch your property and come over your big money. You must protect your legacy. Leave something for your family. Tell them we'll not come again. But come and take a job with me. But pages not for sale. My people not for sale. No, enjoy the beach and sun. Hold it, but pages not for sale. This place not for sale. I know you love the PM. The whole world does be watching. I know you love Guyana and you can't wait to come fuck my over. You can't wait for the weekend. The English down in noises. I know you love my people, be friendly to all and you love up the accent. Not for sale. This is we country. We must demand respect. Hold on to we dignity. Money does talk when belly empty, but selling out is not pride and industry. So I'm telling my friends and